this is Carla and welcome back to the studio, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Throwback Thursday. So for this Thursday, I am going to be featuring the From My Heart suite. It contains the Heartfelt Photopolymer stamp set. It also coordinates with the Heart Punch Pack. There's a solid heart and also a scalloped edged heart. It also has the Real Red double stitched satin ribbon, the From My Heart Faceted gems. Now these have no adhesive on it, so we're going to be using a little bit of glue to adhere these to our two cards today. It also has the Heart Doilies. Now these doilies are in Flirty, Flamingo, and Real Red on one side, and then they're white on the other. And then there's also the From My Heart Specialty DSP. This is a DSP reference sheet that I created that shows all the patterns of the DSP. And I also punched out of cardstock and foil the coordinating colors as well. This is a really good resource when it comes to designing cards. Now, we never had Flirty Flamingo foil, so I went with something that was pretty close, and this is actually Blushing Bride foil that we had a couple of years ago. So let's get started with our first project. Okay, so for my first card, I have a piece of Real Red. This measures 8.5 by 5.5 and it's scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of Flirty Flamingo that measures 5 1/4 by 4. I have a piece of the From My Heart Specialty DSP. This measures 5 by 3 3/4. I have a piece of pink Pirouette cardstock. This measures 4 by 1 1/2. And I also brought in a retired embossing folder called Arrows. And I went ahead and I embossed that ahead of time just to save some time. And then from the DSP, I used the punches to punch out 2 of the foil pieces. So there are images that are in the DSP that work with the punch. So I punched one of each out. I did that ahead of time just to save some time. And then I have a piece of that double stitched Real Red ribbon. So let me just put all this aside. So to get started, I will fold and burnish my Real Red card base. I will bring in my 2 pieces, my Flirty Flamingo and this piece of DSP. And I'm going to add some adhesive to that. And I'll add it to that Flirty Flamingo piece. Okay, we'll just center that. Okay, and then for this piece of pink Pirouette, I'm going to add some adhesive to this. And I'm going to center that across this whole piece here. Okay, then I'm going to take my double stitched ribbon and I'm going to bring in some Scotch tape, and this is how I'm going to adhere this. So I'm going to put a piece of tape on that end and I'll center it like so and just fold it over and just tape that down, and I'll do the same thing on the other end. So this will be the last Throwback Thursday for 2024 that features Valentine projects. since next Thursday will, I believe, be the day after. Yep, it'll be the 15th, so it'll be after Valentine's Day. Okay, so then I'm going to take this whole piece here and I'm going to adhere this to my card base. Center that like so, making sure that the hearts are facing up. That way they're not upside down. Okay, and then I'm going to take this heart here, the one with the scalloped edge, and I'm going to bring in my dimensionals, and I'm going to add a couple to the back of this. And I'm going to center that here in the middle, right over the ribbon. And then for the other heart, I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of this as well. And I'm going to add that on the top here. So there's just a little bit of that pattern foil poking out around the edge of that. Okay, and then one of the things I should have done ahead of time, but I'm going to be daring here. So I'm going to bring in my real red ink, and I'm going to stamp the greeting that says, "So lucky to have a friend like you." And I'm going to stamp this down in the lower right hand corner of my DSP. So I just want to make sure I got this inked up really well. And I'm going to stamp that right down here. Now, usually you would want to go and stamp the paper first instead of waiting until after you've assembled it, just in case if it was crooked or it didn't stamp good. But then it's not a lost cause because you can always take a piece of cardstock, stamp the greeting on, and just cover that up. Okay, so that's all the stamping we're doing on this card. So for the last thing that I want to do, I'm going to bring in my liquid glue and these embellishments and my take your pick tool. So I'm going to remove the tip part on it just so that way I can release these embellishments off of the putty end of my take your pick tool. So I'm going to use the ones that are the white, and I'm going to add 3 of those to my card. So I'm just looking for 3 different sized ones. Okay. And I'm going to add a little drop of glue over here. Now these are the really small ones, so I don't want to use a lot of glue, but we don't want it to ooze out. Okay, and then I'm going to add the larger one down here. Okay, so now let's get our little gems. Get them in the glue. And we'll add this one. Okay, so that is our first card. On to our second. Okay, so for my second card, we're going to do a fun fold. We are going to create a bookbinding card. So for my cardstock and paper pieces, I have a piece of thick basic white. This measures 11 by 4 1/4, and I've scored it at 5 1/2 and at 4 1/4. I have a piece of Flirty Flamingo that measures 4 by 4. A piece of that From My Heart Specialty DSP that measures 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. I have another piece of Flirty Flamingo that measures 4 by 1, and then another piece of that DSP that measures 3 3/4 by 3/4. I have a scrap piece of basic white. This is about 5.5 by 3. And then I have one of those heart doilies, and I'm using the real red one. So I'm going to set that all aside, and I'm going to fold and burnish my card base. So I'm going to fold on that 5.5 inch score line, and then I'm going to fold back on that 4.25 inch score line, and how's it go? It goes this way. So it's going to go like this. So we're going to decorate it, and then we'll glue this piece down, and then this is how our card will open. So I'm going to take my larger DSP, and I'm going to add some adhesive to that. And I'm going to center that on my piece of Flirty Flamingo. So, and then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to adhere it to my card base. So on this 4.25 by 4.25 inch section of the flap of my card, I'm going to center that like so. And then I'm going to take the DSP, the other piece of DSP, and I'm going to adhere this to that piece of Flirty Flamingo. And center that like so. And then I'm going to add this piece to the binding part of my card. So I'm just going to line that up with the other piece that I've already put down, like so. Okay, and then I'm going to take, I already cut in advance a piece of that real red double stitch satin ribbon, and I'm going to come from inside the card, and I'm going to tie a knot. So when I cut this ribbon, I didn't quite cut it long enough, so I do have my pair of, I believe these are called reverse locking tweezers that come in the embossing additions kit, and I'm going to use that as my third hand to hold this knot so I can tie it. So I'm just going to add that, just clamp that right there, and now I can attempt to go and tie this into a knot. Should have cut it a little bit longer. Okay. Where's my other end? Okay, there we go. I'm just going to twist my ribbon so it'll tie flat, like so. Okay, so I'm going to center that right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a glue dot. And these glue dots are from an old paper pumpkin kit. So I have so many of these that I don't even have to go and use the roll that we sell in our annual catalog. So I'm just going to place that right under where the knot would be, and that's just going to hold that ribbon in place. I'm just going to put that over that, press that down, and then I'm going to come in with my scissors and I'm going to just trim at an angle the ends of the ribbon tails, like so. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my adhesive and I'm going to add some over this binding piece. I don't want to go over that score line or this one because then it's going to affect the opening of the card. So we don't want no adhesive showing right there. So I'm going to press this down. Okay. Now I'm going to do some stamping for decoration for the top of this. So actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my adhesive and I'm going to put down this red doily and I'm going to place that right in the center. Like so. And I just put it in the center of the heart. I didn't go along the edge. Okay, I'll put that aside. Now I have for my piece of scrap basic white, I'm going to bring in these stamps. So I have one that looks kind of lacy, one that a heart that's dotted, and then a greeting that says from my heart to yours. And so I am going to be using Flirty Flamingo for this bigger lacy looking heart. And we'll only be seeing just that ruffled edge because this will be behind the other heart that I punch out. So I'm going to stamp this one on this side here, leaving myself enough room to stamp the other heart over here so I can punch them both out. Okay, so we're done with Flirty Flamingo. Then I'm going to bring in Melon Mambo and I'm going to stamp this dotted heart over on this right side here. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in my real red. And I'm going to ink up my greeting. And I will stamp that right in the middle of my heart. Whoa! Okay. Hope there wasn't a whole lot of ink on there because it landed on my carpet. Luckily, I don't have a light colored carpet on this floor, so we're good. I don't see any red. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my punches. I'm going to bring in the scallops and I'm going to just line that up and punch that out. And then I'm going to bring in my solid heart and I'll punch this one out. Center that in there. Punch that out. Okay, and then I'm going to add dimensionals on both of these layers. So put it on the back of this heart, the back of this one. Okay. All right, and then I'm just going to center this over that heart so you just have a little bit of that lacy scallop peeking out from behind that heart. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to center it on this doily. Like so. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in my embellishments. So this time I'm going to use one of each of the colors. So there's Flirty Flamingo, there's the white, and there's the real red. So I'm going to pull out one of each. They're really tiny. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in my glue and my take your pick tool again. And I'm going to add just a little tiny drop up here. A little drop right there. And then we'll put this big one down here. Okay. So let's see, we'll take our little one, place it right there. And my red one up here. And then we'll take the bigger one, the pink one, and add that right there. Okay. Just close this all up right now. So that is our second project. This is our fun fold. And you can just add like a little greeting and stamp something or some kind of decoration in there if you'd like. So really sweet, cute Valentine card. So let me go ahead and remove this. So then that way we have our dark background. And let me bring in the other card that I created. So here are the two cards that we did today for this Throwback Thursday featuring the From My Heart suite of products. So if you had liked these projects, please give the video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. It does help me in not only growing my channel, but also helping in building my Stampin' Up! Business. So I thank you for joining me. And since this is going to be just before Valentine's Day, happy Valentine's Day, everyone. You all have a very blessed one. Bye-bye.